and welcome our blood viewers to RTD's News English edition. As usual, we bring you the major and top highlights of tonight. The head of state chairs the 19th meeting of the Council of Ministers held today. Historic launch of the Grand Barra Solar Power Plant. Djibouti lights the way to the future. And on the international scene, 28 premature babies evacuated from Al-Shifa arrive in Egypt. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. Under the presidency of the head of state and head of government, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, the 19th session of the Council of Ministers took place today, Tuesday, November 21st, 2023. 6 texts were examined and approved. Let's listen to the government spokesman, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, on his report on the 19th session of the Council of Ministers.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, sous la présidence du chef de l'État, son Excellence M. Ismail Omar Guelleh, s'est tenue la 19e séance du Conseil des ministres en ce mardi 21 novembre 2023.
First question, communication on the methodological note of the ad hoc committee on the audit. The Prime Minister has made a communication on the methodological note of the ad hoc committee on the audit of the salary mass. In accordance with the directive of the head of state, the Prime Minister has set up an ad hoc committee on the salary composed of senior administrative officials and chaired by the Secretary General of the government. The main mission of this ad hoc committee is to conduct an in-depth audit of the state's wage bill. It is also tasked with the provide an operational and sustainable response to the wage bill problems and to optimize the management of human resources within public institutions. In this respect, the Prime Minister indicated that they developed a comprehensive methodology underlining the need for a systematic approach to solving the problem of wage costs. This methodology, adopted after working meetings with the various stakeholders, the Ministry of Budget and the Ministry of Labor. These management key guidelines have been established to make the issue of human resources expenditure sustainable in the short, medium, and long term. He also informs that an action plan detailing the main actions has been identifying each public institution involved at each stage of process. This framework will serve as a guide for future work of ensuring a coordinated approach with the various institutions. It specifies that this ad hoc committee will submit monthly reports detailing progress made, and a quarterly report will be made to the Council of Ministers. The aim of this approach is to share the committee's progress with the whole of government, thus encouraging greater involvement of all public institutions. In this way, the committee with human resources management and the sustainability of a state during the discussion, the ministers all expressed their willingness to express it to support this process in managing the wage bill. The Minister of Education and Vocational Training, the second question, draft laws adopting the financial account of the Center for Information and Productions of the National Education CRIPEN for fiscal year 2022, 2021 and 2020. The CRIPEN's financial account for the 2022 financial years are set out as an income of 294 million and expenses at 219 million British franc, with the net incomes of 3,319,000. The net income for the year improved significantly. It went from minus 3.5 million in 2021 to a positive result of over 3.3 million. The operating incomes falls in 2022. CRIPEN's tax and social security debts amount 3.37 million and 3.4 million respectively in 2022. The CRIPEN invested 14.7 million in the acquisitions of technical installations, offices, and IT equipment. The Council of approved the CRIPEN's financial account for the previous years, 2021-2020. The Minister of Trade and Tourism, third question, is draft decree on the protections and tourism attractions of hull sharks in Djibouti. Tourism is a fast-growing industry, and hull sharks are increasing recognition. Demand for the whale shark tourism is growing worldwide, including Djibouti, but this is both of a threat and opportunity, both as part of the judicious exploitations of the attractions of the whale sharks. The Ministry of Trade and Tourism has regulations in this file to ensure the development of this type of tourism and protect these species in our territorial waters. The draft decree aims to promote and develop whale sharks tourism in the world-class tourism in Djibouti by regulating the behavior of tourism operators and other visitors. The draft decree set the durations of the World Shark Tourist Season, which runs from October 15 to the end of March 15 each year. It also defines the type of the control exercised by the National Tourism Agency in collaboration with the Djiboutian Coast Guard. In this way, inspections will focus on authorizations and access right operator and compliance with the standards, safety and regulations and for crew and safety rules for crew passengers, the seaworthiness of boat and the inclusion of military fishing activity from whale shark attraction zone during the tourist season. The draft decree also set out the enforcement measures and penalties for breaches of its provision. The aim of this draft decree is to protect the whale shark, which are currently considered an endangered species. Finally, the implementation of these regulations, the department will collaborate with the Ministry in charge of Environment.
Now let's listen to the second part of the Council of Ministers.
Republic, the first question, the provisional budget of the office of the Djiboutian Office of the Development of Geothermal Energy for the 2024 financial year is set over 592 million Djibouti francs. This budget aims to pursue and intensify the actions exploration programs for the country's geothermal resources in 2024. The office will continue to harmonize, support, and target and improve coordination of the geothermal programs and project develop monitoring and evaluation of geothermal programs, the implementation of a capacity building strategy. In 2024, ODEC will invest in acquisitions of the borehole testing equipment, acquisitions of laboratory equipment, geothermal drilling, and the counterparty of the Galileo project. ODEC's project 2024 budget will also make it possible to the achievement of its objectives and the completions of all major development of geothermal energy. The Ministry of Infrastructure and Equipment. The fifth question, the budget, the provisional budget of the Djibouti International Airport for the 2024 years is set at 3 billion for the total incomes expenses of 2.9 billion, giving a forecast net profit of the 104 million Djibouti franc. International Airport of Djibouti's 2024 budget has been drawn up against the backdrop of an effective resumption of activities after the 3 years of loss-making results due to the COVID-19 pandemic crisis. The establishment plans to implement an investment of 18 million and increase in sales revenue, notably advertising and parking fees. Following the inauguration of the new terminal, an increase in airport and aviation fees and the acquisitions of software, hardware, and this draft 2024 budget will enable the airport to its missions and affirm its role as an essential hub for regional, continental, and international air traffic services. The Minister of Energy in charge of natural resources. The sixth question, the projected budget for the 2024 financial year is presented in terms of income at 34 billion with a profit of 978 million. This budget has been drawn up against the optimistic background for energy production and an increase in the number of household connections, notably as part of the sustainable electrification project. The forecast profit is 3% higher than in the 2023 budget. It rises from 949.4 million in 2023 and 978 million in 2024. In 2024, energy productions in 2024 is forecasted at 844,000 megawatt, including the first kilowatt of energy produced by the Gubet wind power plant. 22% of the total production is 119,000 megawatt. Imported hydropower is estimated at 453,000 megawatt, and the remainder is of 101,000 megawatt will be supplied by the thermal power plant. The 2024 budget includes an investment component of 13 billion for the continuations of supply project for social housing and the distribution network, distribution modernization programs, implementation of the national network, and generating facilities through the constructions of the 100 megawatt Damerjog power plant, the constructions of the transformer substations in Nagad and Damerjog, the constructions of the second interconnection line in Ethiopia, and the IT systems improvement project, the installations of a smart meter concerning the prepayment meter deployment project and the smart grid project. It will enable EDD to further secure supply quality, rapidly detect power failures, and anticipate distribution network maintenance. The adoption of the draft budget will enable EDD to meet the growing energy demand for energy while continuing to fully carry out its missions and keep and control its expenditure. Communication. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the government spokesman, reported on the fifth sessions of the joint ministerial session of the Joint Ministerial Commission between the Republic of Djibouti, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which was held from November 19 to 2023 in Djibouti. This ministerial meeting represents a new stage in the consolidations of a historic fraternal relations between the two countries and the achievement of the common goals. The visit of this delegation is part of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's commitment to further invest more in Africa, and more particularly in the Republic of Djibouti, the gateway of the African continent. The Joint Ministerial Commission, the two parties signed a memorandum of understanding in the file of animal resources, logistic services, and information exchanges between the two information agencies. The Ministry of Higher Education and Research reported on his participation in the Middays Forum Sud held November 15, 18, 2023 in Tangier, Morocco. The Minister of Agriculture's Water Fisheries Resources reported on his participation in the IGAD Water Ministers meeting held from 15 to 16 November 2023 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The Minister of Youth and Culture reported on her participation in the 9th St. Petersburg International Cultural Forum, which took place from November 16 to 18, 2023 in St. Petersburg, Russia.
The President of the National Assembly, Mr. Delita Mohammed Delita, and the representative of UNICEF in Djibouti today signed a memorandum of understanding marking a significant commitment to the promotion and protection of children's rights in Djibouti. During this meeting, the President of the National Assembly, Mr. Delita Mohammed Delita, underlined the capital value of the partnership established between the National Assembly and UNICEF. He highlighted the crucial role that parliaments play in safeguarding and promoting children's rights, aligning these efforts with the Sustainable Development Goals. The UNICEF representative in Djibouti, for her part, expressed her deep satisfaction following the signing of this memorandum. It should be noted that the Parliament of Djibouti has a particular interest in the issue of promoting children's rights and aspires to consolidate this interest in favor of this important segment of the population. The Republic of Djibouti, having ratified several international instruments, recognize the need to protect and promote the rights of the child. This partnership between the national representation and UNICEF marks a decisive milestone in the country's quest to realize children's rights by giving absolute priority to the development of each child. This partnership symbolizes significant progress in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, received yesterday in his office at the Ministry, the Saudi Ministry of Transport and Logistics Services, Saleh bin Nasser Al Jasser, who arrived yesterday in Djibouti to participate in the fifth session of the Djibouti-Saudi Joint Committee. This meeting was held in the presence of the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure, Mr. Hassan Hamad Ibrahim, the Ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Daya al-Din Saeed Bamakrama, and the Ambassador of the Guardian of the two holy mosques in Djibouti, Mr. Faisal bin Sultan Al-Qabani. Indeed, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs welcomed the Saudi Ministry of Transport and his accompanying delegation, saluting the distinguished relations between Djibouti and the Kingdom under the wise leadership of the two countries, represented by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, and the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdul Aziz. For his part, the Ministry of Transport and Logistics expressed his thanks and gratitude to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. After the expert meetings, the fifth session of the Djibouti Saudi Arabia Joint Committee at the ministerial level, co-chaired by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Djibouti, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, and the Saudi Ministry of Transport and Logistics Services, Mr. Saleh bin Nasser Al Jasir, was held yesterday at the Djibouti Palace Kempiski. The opening ceremony of this session, which is part of the promotion of economic and commercial exchange and the discussion of means of joint cooperation took place in the presence, in particular, of the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure, Mr. Hassan Muhammad Ibrahim, and the Undersecretary of the Saudi Ministry of Transport and Logistics, Dr. Mansour bin Abdul Hamid Al Turki. The fifth session of the Djibouti Saudi Arabia Joint Committee highlights ways and means to strengthen and develop bilateral cooperation in the sectors of transport and logistics, trade and investment, finance, customs, energy, in addition to industry, livestock, communication and media, environment, water, agriculture, as well as health, education, training, culture, sports, and youth. The delegation from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, led by the Saudi Ministry of Transport and Logistics, Saleh bin Nasser Al Jasir, then visited various port facilities in Djibouti, including the DDI, the SGTD, the DMP, and the PDSA. The purpose of the visit was to take a close look at the work being carried out in the various ports. At each stage of the visit, port officials gave detailed explanations of the work being carried out and the logistical services provided by each port. The delegation's visit continued at PK-23 Tower, where an important meeting was held between the Saudi delegation and Djibouti port officials in the presence of the Djibouti Minister of Transport. During the meeting, discussions focused on ways and means of strengthening bilateral relations between the two brotherly countries. Then the visit ended with the traditional family photo. The conference room of the International Free Trade Zone of Djibouti hosted yesterday afternoon a working meeting devoted to strengthening bilateral cooperation between Djibouti and France, particularly in economic and commercial fields. The meeting was chaired by the Minister of Transport and Infrastructure, Mr. Hassan Muhammad Ibrahim, in the presence of the President of the Ports and Free Zones Authority, Mr. Bakr Omar Hadi, as well as high-ranking delegations at level of the French MEDEF business movement, led by the President of the Africa Global Logistics, the President of the Council of French Businesses in East Africa, Mr. Philippe Bon, and the French ambassador associated to Djibouti. During this meeting, the two parties reviewed the historical ties of friendship between Djibouti and France, as well as the prospects for cooperation and fruitful partnership which unites the two countries. On the other hand, the French delegation followed a brief presentation on the great progress made by our country in the field of ports and free zones, current development projects, as well as the immediately strategic position of the country in the opportunities for investment available to French companies. The French side declared itself satisfied with the solidarity of Franco-Djiboutian relations, emphasizing its desire to take advantage of economic and investment opportunities in the business climate attractive to businesses and commercial institutions. The President of Africa Global Logistics, President of the Council of French Business in East Africa, Mr. Philippe Labon, also welcomed the economic growth that Djibouti has experienced in recent years under the wise leadership of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, particularly in the field of ports, free zones, and railways. It should be noted that the business movement in France, or MEDEF, is an employers organization founded in 1998, and it represents French companies. Under the aegis of the Ministry of Energy in charge of Natural Resources, Mr. Yunus Ali Gedi, the ceremony of laying the first stone of the construction project of the Grand Barra Solar Power Plant took place yesterday in Grand Barra in capacity of 25 megawatts. This event took place in the presence of the Minister of Interior, Mr. Said Hassan, parliamentarians of the Ali Sibih region, the prefect of the Ali Sibih Regional Council, the President Director General of the company, Emma Power, the Director General of the Surveillance of Djibouti, the Deputy Director General of Electricity of Djibouti, of the senior officials of public institutions, executives of the Ministry of Energy, responsible for natural resources, OCALs, as well as representative of the population of the Ali Sibih region. Indeed, this our project launched today in line with the vision of Djibouti 2035 of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, and is part of the implemented policy of in-depth transformation of the national energy system based on the exploitation of renewable energies available in our country, whether from wind, solar, geothermal sources, or from tidal power or biomass. As part of the activities of the 100th anniversary of the Republic of Turkey, the National Library and Archives Department yesterday hosted a photography exhibition entitled The Wonders of Turkey, organized by the Embassy in collaboration with the National Agency for the Promotion of Culture. The opening ceremony took place in the presence of the Ministry of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hibu Asowi, the Minister of Muslim Affairs and Waqf Property, Mr. Mu'min Hassan Beri, the Ambassador of the Republic of Turkey to Djibouti, and diplomatic representatives residing in Djibouti. This photo exhibition, allowing exploration, even immersion in the history, remains archaeological moments and picturesque landscapes and beauties of Turkey, aroused among the audience the contemplation and admiration of thousand-year-old nation, which cultures a link between Europe and Asia. Faced with the serious floods which affected the region, the Hill 9 Battalion of the Djiboutian Army mobilized to meet the essential needs of the Somali population. The humanitarian aid provided is manifested through the various initiatives, including health assistance, distribution of food, and basic necessities to the local community. The distribution of health aid aims to improve living conditions during this difficult period. In addition, the distribution of drinking water was a crucial measure to guarantee access to a fundamental resource in the context of flooding. In the process, the commander of the Hill 9 Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Hamad Ahmed Mohammed, spoke about the situation, emphasizing the frontier bond that unites the two nations. Heavy rains and floods have hit the worldly people of Somalia, the commander said, expressing solidarity with the tragedy hit neighboring country. In a burst of humanitarian responsibility, the Lieutenant Colonel recalled the crucial importance of solidarity in such emergency situations. The statement reaffirms the battalion's commitment to working closely with the authorities on the ground to ensure an effective and coordinated response, as ordered by the Chief of General Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim. Fundraising for Palestinian solidarity has gained notable momentum among the youth of the sub-prefecture of Holhol. Driven by the desire to contribute to this noble cause, dynamic groups gathered at the Holhol Community Development Center, CDC, to organize this crucial event. Their mobilization reflects a deep commitment and a true spirit of solidarity. This action, initiated by the youth, aims to respond to the call of the solidarity launched by the President of the Republic of Djibouti, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, in favor of the Palestinians in Gaza. The momentum of this initiative was reinforced by the active participation of the sub-prefect of Holhol, the associative movements of the different localities of the sub-prefectures of Holhol, including villages. Each person contributes their own stone to the building, illustrating the strength of united community. The contagious tourism and of the volunteers generated keen interest and facilitated successful fundraising. The success of the fundraisers relies on soil organization and concrete efforts. The youth of the sub-prefecture of Holhol demonstrated that the teamwork and trans-local cooperation are essential to support major humanitarian causes. They have proven that their commitment goes beyond borders, extending a frontier hand towards Palestine. Shifting gears towards the international scene now, 28 premature babies who had remained in Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital after its evacuation on Saturday arrived yesterday in Egypt via the Rafah terminal, according to the World Health Organization. Taking care of Egyptian Red Crescent ambulances equipped with incubators. As soon as they arrived in Egypt, all the babies were suffering from serious infections and are in need of medical care. 11 of them were in critical conditions. Well, but this, our blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening. Take care.